And on all our behalf of all the people assembled here, I take the opportunity to wish Rukmini Chaitanya a very, very happy birthday. May you live long, may you be continue to be happy, and may you continue to be to enjoy good health and be an inspiration and an asset to the ashram. In all these years I have known her, she is a very quiet but an inspiring presence, full of kindness, and we wish her well.
Thank you very much, Swamini ji.
ॐ नमो भगवते वैवस्वताय मृत्यवे ब्रह्मविद्याचार्याय नचिकेतसे च. The last verse in the Kathopanishad, not the last verse of the Kathopanishad, but the last verse in the Kathopanishad that deals with Shreyas and Preyas, even though it doesn't mention them, it refers to them, goes like this. It says, दूरमेते विपरीते विशूची अविद्या च अविद्याया च विद्येति ज्ञाता विद्याभीप्सिनं नचिकेतसं मन्ये नत्वा कामाः बहवो अलोलुपन्त. It reiterates, we'll see the meaning shortly, and this is it's a wonderful verse that the mantra that brings all our discussions that we have had so far together into a nice culmination. And so it reiterates what we have seen so far. Duram ete. Ete means these two. Duram, far away. From what? From each other. Shreyas and Preyas are the two here mentioned. They are not like parallel lines that never meet. At least the good thing about parallel lines is that they lead to the same destination. Here they are divergent paths, and if the same person is intent on following both the paths at the same time, you get quartered. You get torn from limb to limb, half of it in Shreyas, half of it in Preyas. There is no person alive to be able to follow the paths simultaneously. Duram means very far away. It is so far that this gap cannot be bridged. Viparite Vishuchi. Vishuchi should be read as Vishuchya paths. The two paths are viparite, means opposite to one another. Divergent paths, opposite paths. And you cannot go to Shreyas after choosing Preyas. Only after dropping the Preyas, at least cognitively resolving to drop the Preyas, opens the doorway to Shreyas. So an important sadhana is making this inner resolve. In the Bhagavad Gita, this inner resolve is called Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. Vyavasayatmika Buddhi means Nishchayatmika Buddhi, a buddhi that is not on the fence. Should I go for the spiritual path or not? That is not a question, because that is what you are longing for. Even if you are not longing to be in a quote unquote spiritual path, Shreyo Marga, you are longing to be free of samsara, symbolized by the Preyo Marga, the path called Preyas. Even though you may not want Shreyas directly, indirectly you wish to be free of Preyas. And you ask anybody in any country, in any time frame, in any period of history, what do you want? They will all say, I want to be happy. What is happiness? Being free of seeking and being free of longing. That is what is happiness. That is what is limitlessness. And so, Shreyas is wanted by all but recognized by a few. And so viparite vishuchyau means they are divergent paths. They have nothing to do with one another. They certainly, most certainly, do not lead to the same destination. And that is why the Bhagavad Gita says that the first step to Vedanta, to unfolding the true nature of yourself as everything, as non separate from the cause of the universe, from Brahman, from Bhagavan, the first step is to become resolute in this decision. And one cannot decide to follow Shreyas until and unless one knows what Shreyas is. And when one cannot know Shreyas until and unless one has gained some of the preparations that we talked about in the earlier satsang, in the last satsang, the one immediate to this one. and and so this is something which is very important to internalize. Is to be able to delineate between the two is important, but after delineating between Shreyas and Preyas and understanding that Shreyas is what I really want, the inner resolve to follow this path is the next step. And this is addressed in the Bhagavad Gita very, very beautifully. Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, Vyavasayatmika buddhihi ekehaka kuru nandana. Oh, the joy of the Kuru clan. Oh, Arjuna, you are the joy, you are the inspiration. And everybody looks up to you. And if you gain this knowledge by getting the inner resolve to follow Shreyas, think of the effect it will have on everyone else. You will be bringing everyone else to Bhagavan. You will be bringing everyone else to enjoy the truth of their own nature. This is a very noble task. So, Vyavasayatmika buddhi. So, this kind of a buddhi called Vyavasayatmika buddhi, a buddhi of inner resolve to follow what is the best path for me after delineating between the impermanent and the infinite, and choosing the infinite is the next step. And that is called Vyavasayatmika buddhi, a buddhi, an intellect that is dedicated to the discovery of oneself as Bhagavan. Eka buddhi means it is, once the resolve is made, you don't look back. Because if you look back, that means the inner resolve is not unshakable. The inner resolve is coming under all kinds of spells and is possessed by prayas. That is not what one wants. But supposing I don't have this Vyavasayatmika buddhi, if supposing I just am not able to decide, then what will happen? This is a human thinking. Everybody knows. What if is a very important question. What if I do this? Okay, all these 5 days you have kept on drilling into our heads the wonders of Shreyas and the path called Shreyas. But what if I don't choose to follow? What then? बहुशाखा ह्यनन्ताश्च बुद्धयो अव्यवसायिनाम्. Avyavasayinam means those who are not capable of this decision making, this inner resolve. For them, bahushakhaha anantascha margaha we have to add. So the quest for the people who are unable to make the decision to follow Shreyas, their life is full of options. Full of options. And what kind of options? Endless options. Ananta. Bahushakhaha means, many branched options. It's like going to a buffet in a restaurant. Little bit of this. Oh, I didn't like it. Okay, next plate. Another bit of that. Oh, that is giving me some kind of acid reflux. Okay, forget that. Another one. And you will be there all day long and come out in a bad mood. And the buffet means, especially in Indian restaurants, I mean, it may taste good, but usually it is just recycled food. That's why I gave you the example of buffet. Yeah. Yesterday's dinner, day before yesterday's breakfast, and the sweet dishes from the last life are all warmed up and then served. And 12 to 1 all you can eat, 7.95. This is how they advertise. And so you go there and it's just recycled food. That is exactly how prayers is. Everything is recycled in samsara, old stuff. You want a holiday? What is a holiday? Beating traffic and sitting in traffic, and then you either go to the mountains, or you go to the ocean, or you go to a combination thereof. And if you're a little weird, you go to the desert, go to Arizona. That's all. And then what else is there? Or you go to the snow, you go to Colorado for skiing. That's all that is there. Recycled, and then it is put in a new container. Oh, this amusement park you have never been to, this ski resort is new, it has some particular feature, and it has that, it has this, and you go there, it's same old, same old. And Shreyas is just that it's not even an item on the buffet. It's the recognition that you don't need this buffet because you are no longer hungry. You are filled with the ananda of yourself. And you are not waiting in line to, shoo away people in front of you and get to the buffet before it gets taken away, before it comes to an end. The last piece of the oil drenched pakoda has your name on it, don't worry. Keep standing in line. Nobody will choose it, okay? And this is what is prayers, a recycled buffet. Like old things warmed up and presented as though they are fresh. Why? Because the person going for the prayers buffet has permanent amnesia. Been there, done that, bored of this, bored of that, still goes and presents themselves for this recycled last lifetime's food, presented in some kind of a wonderful platter. This is a very sad travesty. Bahushakhaha, many branched is their resolve, and so therefore they are permanently in a fix of what to follow. They have FOMO, fear of missing this out, fear of missing that out, fear of this, fear of that, all kinds of fears, and then they are stuck. They have frozen in time and place because the choices are so many, they are oppressive. They don't know the right choice from the wrong choice, and from a series of wrong choices they are just completely majjaha, nimagnaha means majjanti, they are drowning in the wrong choices. And then and even if the punya, the good karma, works over time to bring them to some kind of a guru spiritual life, they are very likely to choose the wrong kind of spiritual life. Oh, is there a wrong kind of a spiritual life? Sure, there is. There are, unfortunately, in Kali Yuga, exploitative cults and personality based some kind of paths based on one single personality, some charismatic individual that you adore, and then what? Adoring, your whole life goes away, and you haven't learnt anything except how to adore a person. And all this the Bhagavad Gita gives. I'm not making this up. Yamimam pushpitam vacham प्रवदन्ति अविपश्चितः वेदवादरताः पार्थः नान्यदस्तीति वादिनः कामात्मानः स्वर्गपराः जन्मकर्मफलप्रदां क्रियाविशेषबहुलां भोगैश्वर्यगतिं प्रति भोगैश्वर्यप्रसक्तानां तया अपहृतचेतसां व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिः समाधौ न विधीयते. Obviously, Lord Krishna has a mouthful of Sanskrit verses in order to describe the being stuck in the Preyo Marga. So, such people, he says, first of all, come under the spell of flowery talk of those personalities who delude them. Pushpitam vajam, flowery talk. And what do these people say? Our way is the best way. Don't go to Shivananda ashram. They don't know anything. They may know a few Veda poses. That's all. They don't know anything. Our way is the best way. In fact, the traditional ways of teaching do not advertise themselves like this. Do not say our way is the best way. They have no need to advertise because they are with Shreyas, the truth. The truth is the best advertiser of itself. Just like a jnani, a person of knowledge, what will they say? They will not say, look at me, I am a jnani. They will not wear a board on their neck. That is very boring. So they will not wear a board and advertise oneself. Truth does not need advertisement. It just pulls, and the right people will come to it sooner or later. And those traditional ways of teaching, those traditional lineages, like Arsha Vidya, Shivananda Yoga, all these things, they draw their sustenance from the Upanishad. It's not based on a personality, it is not a cult. They have nothing to prove. And they are not out to canvass people, to try to canvass followers. No. Truth is presented. Because the traditional Guru Shishya Parampara, the traditional lineages, bestow the quality of inner security to the followers. That my Guru found the way, and following these teachings, I will find the way. The Guru of my Guru of my Guru of my Guru, they all found the way. And that same way they are teaching us, it's a tried and tested method. No guesswork, no trying to scratch the head and come up with something new. This is a well-beaten, well-trodden path where the previous gurus who have walked on it out of great compassion have taken the time to remove the thorns from the way, to remove the stones and pebbles so that our feet are easily following the path. Some gurus are so compassionate, they don't stop at removing the thorns and stones and sharp things on the way. They grow some flowers so that you can walk among the flowers, not succumb to some flowery talk of some charlatan, some charismatic person. And what do these charismatic people say? The charismatic people, where the path is based on somebody's personality, they say our way is the right way. Follow me. Oh, but I heard I have to have vairagya. Don't worry. Give me all your money and I will give you vairagya instantly. You will get vairagya from your own money. So, this is how it goes. I'll give you vairagya, I'll give you viveka also for free, because once you give me all your money, you will understand, okay, something is wrong here. And so, and these people are what? Vedavada rataha. Rataha means addicted. Addicted to a selective reading of the Vedas. Meaning only karma kanda, the portion which is a portion of desire fulfillment. They don't see Vedanta at all. They don't see sadhana. They don't see meditation. They don't see discipline with regard to food, with regard to breathing. All these things are not there for them. They are kind of charvakas. Charu vakyasya. These are people who are hedonistic. Charvakas means the modern hedonistic groups and people, and they lure you with promises of all kinds of things. And then the person of no inner resolve becomes a sitting duck for these kinds of groups and cults and personalities who do a selective reading of the Veda and say the Veda is all about desire fulfillment. So bring me your desire, I will fulfill it for you for a small fee. Just put $25,000 in the bank account and we'll do a homa for you. And you will get what you want. We'll chant a mantra for you. Vedavada rataf partha. And then what do they say? Na anyadasti iti vadinah. They say we are the best, east or west, there is nothing better than us. But in reality, Lord Krishna unveils their nature. Kamatmanaha. Kamatmanaha means their whole being is a walking, talking embodiment of desire. Walking bunches of desire. 6 foot tall desire. 150 kilo, weight of desire. These are walking, talking embodiments, incarnation of desires. And then what else do they want? Swargaparaha means they're not interested in this life. Their focus, they have as though given up on this life. And they're luring people to go to some afterlife. First of all, do we know that there is an afterlife? No. I don't know that. And then do I know that I'm going to go there, survive death and go there? That also I don't know for sure. And then, having gone to this so-called afterlife, do you think that I'm going to like it? Do I know that I'm going to like it? And if you read descriptions of heaven in the Veda, it's just music and dance concert. Subhe, morning, music concert by yakshas, gandharas, kinnaras, gandharvas. And these are all celestial musicians. They never go out of tune, and they have wonderful celestial instruments that you have neither seen nor heard. Okay, fine. And then evening what? Rambha, Menaka, Urvashi dances. That's all the heaven is. Supposing you are not into fine arts, having gone there you may get bored. Even if you are a Vedantin, you will get bored. You know. So who knows about the afterlife? But here, these kinds of people who mislead, Bhagavan Krishna says that these people mislead by not focusing on this life but giving you some promise of afterlife. And in fact, it had come in the paper about 2 decades ago. One Islamic leader in India had promised all the followers a mango tree in heaven in their backyard. Oh, that's very nice of you. That's very nice of you. Thank you, oh revered leader. So you're going to pray that I have a mango tree in my backyard? Yes, but for that you have to give 500,000 rupees here to me, and then I will assure that you will get mango tree in your backyard. And if you want guava tree also, 90,000 900,000 rupees, little bit off, little bit money off, because you're two for the price of a small discount. Then that person was caught, somebody complained, but not before many of the people were convinced that he is so holy that he can assure that the people have some kind of a tree in the backyard. This is something this is what exactly Bhagavan Krishna is talking about, Svargaparaha. Janma karma phala pradam, who are only interested in the fruits of karma in the hereafter. And then, if you are interested in the fruits of karma, what are you interested in? Karma, action. So the result of action cannot be got without action. So such people are addicted to action and the results thereof. And what are the fruits of action for them? Don't say moksha, because that will be the wrong answer. The fruits of action, they want 2 kinds of fruits of action. They are completely besotted with 2 kinds of fruits of action. Bhoga, conspicuous consumption. Aishwarya, rulership, overlordship. They want to rule over, they want to have that adhipatya, power. Bhoga, enjoyment and power. These are the only 2 things they want. And then if you follow them, Lord Krishna says it's really bad news. Because those that are addicted to bhoga and aishwarya, Their hearts are hijacked to any other pursuits. Their hearts are imprisoned and addicted to bhoga and aishwarya, and they are not available for any kind of interrogation, any kind of self enquiry, any kind of Bhagavan enquiry. They are just not available. व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धि समाधौ न विधीयते. They are not able to resolve their minds. No vyavasayatmika buddhi is possible. This is, Bhagavan Krishna is just on a roll and he has a choice words for such kinds of people who not only are themselves derailed but continue to derail other people from their path. That's why I say the Kathopanishads and the Bhagavad Gita are very closely aligned, because this very Upanishad that we are studying is going to say in the next verse, अविद्यायामन्तरे वर्तमानाः स्वयं धीराः पंडितं मन्यमानाः दन्ध्रम्यमानाः परियन्ति मूढाः अन्धेनैव नीयमानाः यथा अन्धाः. The Upanishad says that this kind of a terrible scenario, if you don't choose Shreyas, is that of following the blind. So one doesn't know, that is why one is following somebody. And then that person who is leading you is also blind. What a travesty. So the blind leader says, Ajao, come behind me. Get behind me, everybody come. Hold on to me. Actually, the leader is hoping that the seeing disciples will stop him or her from, ramming into objects. But is fooling the people, I am the leader, you are the followers. And so not able to see where he or she is going. The so-called leader who is not able to see, what does the leader do? Crashes into a tree. And then fadar, all the people behind him also crash. And then they're all a little confused, not sure whether from their priorities or from the fall they had, but then they get up, they dust themselves, they dust off the leader also. Hey Guru, what happened? And the Guru also is dusting off his reputation, and the Guru says, that was a test to see your Shraddha, whether you will follow or not, and how diligently you will follow. So they all get up. Oh, what a lovely Guru. Thank God we passed the test. Okay. And next the Guru loses his foothold and falls into a ditch. Falls into a ditch. And then all the people, dub, they all fall into the same ditch. Now what? Is this another test, Guru? Oh, Guru, is this another test? And of course, you can't recycle the same excuse twice. The Guru says, no, there was a herd of wild elephants and I had to fall into this ditch. In fact, he didn't even know that he had fallen into a ditch till somebody pointed out. But he caught hold of that quickly, and with his pushpita, vak, with his flowery talk, converted the situations. I saved you from danger. Because there was a herd of wild elephants, I heard the herd. That's why it's called herd, because you heard them. And then I heard them, and then they were all marching past, and they were going to come and trample us out of existence. So I saved all of you by falling into the ditch and pulling all of you into the ditch. And so the followers, the Kathopanishad says, Dandramyamanaha means they're always shaken about from one wrong path to another wrong path. And Pariyanti means they keep wandering. Mudhaha. Mudhaha is another synonym for Mandaha. Manda we saw, slightly dull. Mudha is a Manda that is deluded. Dull and deluded. Dull, deluded, dejected and despondent and in despair is the Mudha. So you see how closely the Bhagavad Gita and the Kathopanishad are aligned. They follow a very similar trajectory and they present the teaching in a very, very similar manner. And so here too, the costs of following the wrong path are just too many. If one is lost in prayers, very difficult, nay, impossible to extricate oneself. Because consider this, before one went on any kind of a spiritual path, what was one into? Bhoga and Aishwarya, correct? One wanted some kind of a power, at least within the household. At least if nobody listens to me, the dog should listen to me. If I say sit, it should sit. Secret. Actually, it doesn't sit unless you have a biscuit in the hand. Then it will sit if you have a dog treat. It is also clever. But you feel like it is sitting because you're telling it to sit. At least somebody should listen to me. The dog should unconditionally love me and sit when it is told to sit, roll over when it is told to roll over. This is bhoga in a small way. I want to enjoy being king, being a master. And then what? This is Aishwarya, sorry. And Bhoga, I want all kinds of yoga and Kshema pursuits to be front and center, including the afterlife. Afterlife is overrated, really, because there's nothing you can achieve there, because you just have a bhoga sharira, you're just there to enjoy yourself. Afterlife is a big bore because you cannot gain moksha in swarga. You cannot, because it's just a place full of distractions, and you don't have the ability to pursue the knowledge unless there is some great grace operating over time, like you end up in Brahmaloka. That's the only place where you can get the teaching. All other places are places of enjoyment. And so this is something which is, and when you are in the midst of that kind of an enjoyment, you're not interested in teaching, learning, studying. No. And so here, before you came into the spiritual realm, you were only interested in bhoga, you were only interested in Aishwarya. And after departing, after entering the spiritual realm also, you follow a path of bhoga and Aishwarya. What a travesty! How sad is that, really? And therefore, since the pitfalls are so many, we cannot expect that, you cannot put the onus on the leader. Having chosen the wrong leader, you cannot expect that leader to lead you out of your confusion. So then, how to choose the right leader? Have the correct resolve. Duram me viparite vishuchi. When you know that these paths are so divergent, Shreyas cannot even look at Preyas. They are like day and night. Shreyas is day, Preyas is the ignorance of tamas. And when you know this, what happens? The Kathopanishad says there's one more thing you need to know. And what is that one more thing? Going on a path of prayers is following avidya, self ignorance, is being deeply continuing to be rooted in this self ignorance. That's why avidya, ya vidya iti jnata. It is known by the people of discriminating intellect, by the dhiras. What do they know? That this prayas is avidya. Prayas keeps you completely uh, drowned in avidya, self ignorance. Shreyas is atma vidya, self knowledge. Ignorance binds you to karma and its results and life after life, and Shreyo Marga, Moksha, Vidya, self knowledge frees you from all notions of bondage. And then he says, Vidya Bhipsinam Nachiketasam Manye. O Nachiketa, you have passed all tests and have come out as desirous of this knowledge, because I offered you a lot of things, including the pleasures of the afterlife. I offered you, but you shunned all of them. You shunned all of them and you insisted on this knowledge. And you see, Nachiketa is an inspiration to everybody, because if a small Nachiketa at 8 years old can follow Shreyas, it is never too late. Even if one is 80, it is not too late to turn to a life of Shreyas. He is very inspiring, this Nachiketa. Very, very inspiring. And as a young presence, as the desire for knowledge gained by somebody who is so young. So this Vyavasayatmika Buddhi, also called elsewhere in the Bhagavad Gita as Buddhi Yoga. This Buddhi Yoga means this uniting the Buddhi with the ultimate. So the physical practice of the asanas helps to unite the Buddhi, the mind, to this path. Even though in the beginning it was very, very unclear how to do this. So all sadhanas are surrendered to this path of discovering this inner resolve in order to follow Shreyas. Whether you are talking of Bahiranga sadhana, outside sadhanas like Karma Yoga, which gives, Karma Yoga gives, what is that? Chitta Shuddhi. Chitta Shuddhi is Antahkarana Shuddhi, the purification of the inner instrument. So therefore Shaucham is a very important value that is internalized. The outer Shaucham is of course through soap and water. The inner Shaucham, what is the soap for inner Shaucham? Bhagavan Nama. Hari is the name of the soap. That is the soap, and that soap cleanses the vak, the tongue, of harsh words that are immediately regretted. That is the soap that cleanses the mind of the fog of inner pain and subjectivity. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namah Shivaya. That is the soap. Those are the brand names of the inner soap that cleanses the heart. And this is Chitta Shuddhi, and this Chitta Shuddhi is called, is also the result of Bahiranga Sadhana. Bahiranga Sadhana means the outward focused sadhanas, a prime example of it, which is Karma Yoga, a very important form of Bahiranga Sadhana, Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga doesn't mean, doing work for no pay. This is a very base level understanding of Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is doing what needs to be done gladly for the sake of inner growth rather than some approval seeking exercise, where you learn to do something because it needs to be done. You can't always do as you like, so you grow to learn to like what you have to do. And this is not easy and cannot be accomplished without Ishvara's grace. So Ishvara is front and center in Karma Yoga. Ishvara is the proxy actor. Ishvara is the giver of the result of actions. And Ishvara is that grace, that buddhi, the prasada buddhi with which the actions are received with glad acceptance. Without Karma Yoga, you cannot Ishvarize the universe, and you cannot have inner resolve without seeing everything as Ishvara. So this is Bahiranga Sadhana, an outward facing sadhana, which gives Chitta Shuddhi, inner Shaucham, inner purification, and rids the heart, which rids the heart of resentment, fear, revengefulness, jealousy, anger, despondency. All these are gone. Delusion. Then there is another set of sadhanas that come under the rubric of Antaranga Sadhana. Antaranga Sadhana means inward focused sadhana, like meditation, contemplation, dhyana, dharana, samadhi. All these are Antaranga sadhanas. And these Antaranga sadhanas, what do? They give the present, the gift of Chitta Naishchalyam. Nishchalasya bhava naishchalya, the unmovingness of the mind, helps the mind to focus, especially in this contemporary era where focus, the spelling of focus also one doesn't know. Forget how to focus because of a smartphone, because of all kinds of distracting things, because of the internet. There is no inner life because the life is always, there is no rich inner life. The one who is desirous of following prayers must cultivate a rich inner life where you are the primary source of your own entertainment. That is what gives chitta naishchalya. Nischala means the unmoving, focused mind. Samadhanam is the present of these antaranga sadhanas. Dhyana, meditation, nididhyasana, etc. All of them. And with equipped with the bahiranga sadhana and antaranga sadhana, the person is finally strong enough to shake off prayers. Like even the tarot card, I told you about the first tarot card of the fool jumping off the precipice. The fool is not jumping off the precipice, and neither is the person a fool. A fool by the standpoint and the definitions of all other people in the village. And the dogs are dogged habits that hold you back, that pull at your robes and hold you back. The precipice is Shraddha, a quantum leap from the known to the unknown, from the tested and tried and bored and disappointed life to that of a glorious life based on the promise of the Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishads, that this is the true nature, this is what you have to follow, and without this there is absolutely nothing else. The whole life is wasted. Because if you don't follow the correct path, the chances are that you will be lured into and become hijacked by, imprisoned by, enslaved by wrong priorities, wrong leaders, wrong paths, leading to greater and greater sorrow and anxiety. This is how the Kathopanishad sums up this particular set of verses. And in conclusion, we can look at a few ways, some practical tips on how to protect oneself from prayers. Because even though one may say, I have resolved to follow the path called Shreyas, prayers is lurking around the corner. Come here, come on. It's just a little piece of chocolate cake. How dangerous can it be? Come on. Have me, eat me, love me, indulge in me. So, are you trying to tell me, somebody can ask, that if I am on the path of Shreyas, I should not even look at chocolate cake? Because, up till now I was with you. I attended each and every session. But now if you tell me that I'm going to log off, don't. It is not that the thing itself is prayers. No, it is not the cake that is prayers or Shreyas. It is your attitude to pursuing the cake that makes it prayers or Shreyas. Poor cake. It is just there. Some people like it, some people don't. But here it is your own misaligned values, attitudes towards the cake, a shobhana adhyasa towards the cake, meaning a wrong belief that cake is equal to ananda. Kekananda. No. No. That is where the problem is. It's not the cake that is prayers. It's your wrong understanding and joining your own ananda of which you are in full possession. And despite being in full possession of this ananda, you project that ananda onto the cake and pursue the cake. That is prayers. That is the mistake. So, some practical tips to guard oneself from falling into prayers. Tip number one is to question instant gratification. Question the need for instant gratification. When a desire pops up in the head, no problem. So many desires pop up in the head. I wish to know what Mars is like. I wish they will make in my lifetime a yana. Yana means a vehicle that will go to Mars and I can be in it. Maybe I will build a condo in Mars. This is a fancy, okay? And for most of the time, the fancy comes, the fancy goes. You immediately chide yourself. Come on, don't be so fanciful. Move on. You have things to do, places to go, people to see. Stop with this. And then the fancy goes away. Some fancies take a foothold in the heart and they turn into what is called binding desires. A desire that hijacks the ahankara, the I, into following it. So this is how are these binding desires recognized? The binding desires are recognized because they exert a pressure for instant gratification. Beware of instant gratification. And so, what should I do? Should I just drop all desires? As I told you, you can't and you should not. Instead, the tip number one is to delay the gratification. Yes, I want it yesterday, I want it right now. Change the channel. Take a walk. Do some pranayama. Go do some seva. Do something to help yourself forget this. And just tell yourself, if after 6 hours or half a day, if after half a day I still have this desire, then I will see. Then after half a day, still the strong desire. Well, it's almost the end of the day. Let's try tomorrow. Let's live for this day. This day I don't come under the spell of this addiction. Tomorrow is another day, and of course, you wake up fresh with a fresh resolve to be in Shreyas. And sometimes those kinds of desires die away. Rasavarjam rasopyasya parandrishtva nivartate. Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, even though the longing remains, you have stopped chasing after that object of desire, but the longing remains. And then the longing remains, but since you are focused on Shreyas, the longing also resolves. So the next tip is you cannot go on a de-addiction program from prayers and samsara without hooking on to Shreyas. You have to hook on to Shreyas and then drop the prayas in its wake. Shreyas being limitless, prayas is included in the pursuit. You get everything if you get Shreyas, and so prayas is included in this everything. And this much Shraddha if one has and one follows Shreyas, then one doesn't grieve the dropping of the prayas. Then finally, the last point, this is very difficult to do by oneself. One needs a community. See how much fun we have had for the last 5 days. At least I have had fun. And, so for the last 5 days we have had so much fun because we are together. And in this togetherness, in this synergy, the heart is secure that I am not crazy. I am not the only one jumping off the precipice. There are many such people. You may not know the people who are logged on. You see the names and you see little postage stamp faces. I am not the only one smiling. The other person is also smiling. The other person is also listening. And so the heart is secure enough to follow this. This is what is called satsang. Satam Sangah. You get addicted to the people and the path of truth, and you rely on the people. And this is a wonder, and they rely on you. This is a very functional friendship because it is very difficult to do it alone. And if you have at home significant other or others in the form of partner, family, etc., that is wonderful. But then sometimes that is not enough. You need to go out. And in the pandemic, you can't go out. So, this is a wonderful thing. The satsang comes into your room. And this is what sometimes people ask me, when I have some retreat, where are you? I say, I'm in your living room or your study, wherever you are watching me, I am there. This is what it is. It cuts through that isolation. And it is very important to have friends along the way. And that is why, one Beatles song said, we get by with a little help from our friends. This is the best form of friendship. Everybody following Shreyas together, everybody working for inner resolve together. I thank the Shivananda Ashram for inviting me, and I thank all of you for such wonderful attention and such dedicated listening. And I pray that everyone be on this path with resolve, with self love, compassion towards all beings. ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतङ्गमय ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ओम शांति 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 हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम थैंक यू